Go, cell phones. 40,000 of them. Red. There's a process. They pay some very expensive consultants to go, okay, what are we going to make? What can we sell? How many? What color? Where are we going to get the materials from? They plan this production, and I know this because of Godzilla. Anyone see the Godzilla remake that came out in like the late 90s? No? I did.
Yeah.
It sucked, right?
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was atrocious. And like Matthew Broderick is like a worm scientist chasing giant dinosaurs. No. It was really bad. And somebody thought it was going to be really good. And they made a lot of Godzilla merchandise. A lot. Toys, lunchboxes, shirts, whatever. And right after the movie came out and promptly flopped because it sucked, you could go down the aisles of a department store and there were literally heaps, as if someone had taken a shovel and thrown them onto these piles, heaps of Godzilla merchandise. Total bargain. They didn't care. They just wanted to get rid of it because they had totally blown it. They thought it was going to sell and it didn't. If corporations couldn't plan production, that would be everything. They get nothing right. If they were throwing darts at a dartboard, they'd never actually figure out what we're going to buy. And there'd be heaps of all kinds of junk we didn't want. But they don't. Every year they make a profit and they magically produce the things that we actually are going to buy. It ain't magic. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could comment on the planning system of the former Soviet Union, because that didn't work very well.
It didn't. You're right. And that was what we call a centrally planned economy, or a command economy. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that was that they effectively said, okay, we're going to have 5 Russian guys in the Kremlin plan all production. And it won't be based on what people need. It won't be based on what we can actually do. It'll just be based on, we've decided that we're going to produce 100 rockets this year. But excuse me, sir, we don't have the technology to produce 100 rockets. Bang! So how many rockets are you going to produce this year? 100! Well done. In a little bit, when we talk about the corporate accountability boards and the citizen ownership, we'll get into some of the issues about how this is different from what happened in the Soviet Union. But suffice to say, we've learned our lesson. That valiant effort, total fail, not going to repeat that mistake again. And also, I think it's a good point, because planning shouldn't be a dirty word, right? Planning production shouldn't be, ooh, they're going to get the gulags back. No. Planning production means we're going to use our brains. We're not going to trust random chance to give us the things that we need. Planning is good. We have city planning boards so that we don't have cities that sprawl over 100 miles and we can't get around, right? Planning's good. Planning helps us match demand and production. And so we're going to flip this. Let's say, you know what, rather than the 5 white guys in New York determining what to make based on what's going to make us the most money, let's go bottom up. Because retailers, JCPenney, grocery outlet, the places you actually buy the things you want, they already project demand. They already know what you're going to buy. Because they keep data. They actually say every week, we sold more of these and less of these, so we're going to order more of these and less of these. What a crazy thought, to actually look at what people buy and determine what to make based on that. But that's what we're proposing. It's kind of a no-duh. That you have people in place already who know what you're going to buy. Why not have them tell the people making the stuff what to make? And I know that retailers can accurately project demand, because, I don't know, let's see a show of hands. Who here has gone to the grocery store and not walked out with what you wanted? How many times?
It's been a while.
I can count on my hand the number of times I've walked into a grocery store and walked out empty-handed. They've always got what you want, and maybe you don't get the brand of bread you want, but you get a loaf of bread. They've always got enough Cheerios. They've always got enough beef. How do they do it? It's magic. It ain't magic. They project. They figure it out. People buy this many units of this a week. Next week, they'll probably buy the same number. Make that many units. It's so crazy it might just work. So let's not produce what's profitable. Let's not produce for the short term. Let's say people are going to use this much of whatever. They're going to eat this much beef, drink this much milk, they need this many houses. Let's use that to figure out how much beef and milk and houses we need. And so when you go into network production, Now we're able to match that. It ain't random chance. It ain't, well, please, God, let someone be able to make money off of me so that I can get the food I need this week. It's, I need to eat. People around me need to eat. Therefore, businesses will now make what we need to eat. Yeah?
What's in it for the grocery store?
What's in it for the grocery store? Money. Do you work?
In the summertime.
Yeah, where do you work?
For a farm, last couple summers.
Perfect. Farm, we're talking about food. What's in it for you, for the farm to actually make what I want? What I heard it say it. You get paid. If the farm doesn't make what I want, the farm goes out of business, right? If you I don't know, if you grow blueberries and nobody wants blueberries, chances are your employer is out of work, and you are along with it.
I guess what I'm thinking is for the people who can't afford those goods that they'd be now making for people who couldn't afford them, if they make all that merchandise or food, I guess what's their incentive for making for people who otherwise couldn't afford it? I might have missed a step somewhere.
No, you're right. This is we haven't missed a step. That's the next. That's 2 steps from now.
Okay.
But because right now we're just talking about how we match production with actual demand.
Okay.
We haven't. You're right. What is their incentive? Great question. Ask me again in about 10 minutes.
Sure.
But this is key, right? Is that now we can replace profit with need. We can actually produce what people need. We can direct investment into what actually is required. I don't know how long y'all been in Bellingham. There's a parking lot down was by the WeQ.
Tokyo House.
The what? Oh, by the Tokyo House. And it was like an abandoned lot for ages. And then finally they said, whatever, just pave it over. That was a perfectly good piece of real estate that could have been used to produce something we actually need, like, say, housing. I don't know if all y'all pay rent, but it's crazy up here. It is. Wait, there's a housing crunch in Bellingham. There's not enough places yet.
No, producers need to sell what they make to retailers, so don't, to some extent, retailers already determine what is produced?
Yes, but no. Do you think, before Godzilla came out, anybody said, I need some Godzilla toys? No. The producers said, we can make a lot of money off Godzilla toys, made a bunch of them, and then pawned them off on people to sell them. And so, in a certain extent, there is what's a built-in sort of feedback loop, and we'll show you in a second. But right now, in a for-profit system, to say, okay, well, people bought more of these, make more of these. But just because people bought a lot of them, maybe you're losing money, right? And if you're losing money on something, you ain't going to keep making them, no matter how many people want it. And that's the problem with the food will only be grown for half the population problem. Lots of people need food, but in our current system, you can't make money off of it. You're just not going to do it. And so there's this break in there, that I will listen to your demand only as long as that demand is backed by money. Once people can't afford it, I ain't listening. Right? So actually, let me just jump to the flowcharts there, because this is all abstract. Right? Flowcharts scientifically proven to enhance learning and understanding. And so this is what a for-profit system looks like. And I want cookies. I love cookies. Who here likes cookies? Woohoo! Cookies. Let's go get some cookies now. Right? I want cookies, so I go buy cookies. And I eat the cookies. And good for me. Doesn't stop there for the grocery store. The grocery store now has to order more cookies. And so they go to the magic elves that make these cookies and say, I want more. The problem is that I like a certain kind of cookie. I don't know if any of y'all ever had the EL fudge cookies. They used to make them in chocolate. They don't make them in chocolate anymore. I don't know why. That really broke my heart. Right? And so now the magic elves are not making the cookies I want because the ingredients are too expensive. The profit margin just isn't there. They don't make enough money on each bag to make it worth it. So instead they make cookies out of palm oil and chocolate chips that use child labor. And just in case you're wondering, yes, almost all the chocolate that we eat, it uses child labor to pick the cocoa beans that are turned into the chocolate. Because it's cheap. Who wants to pay $10 for a pound of chocolate? Right? That just ain't happening. And so now the magic elves ship out these substandard cookies, and I eat those cookies because I am hungry and I love me some cookies. But they're not the cookies I wanted. They're not the cookies I demanded, and I definitely didn't tell them to use palm oil and child labor, but that's what's going to make them money, so that's what they do. Network production, on the other hand, slightly more complicated, far more efficient overall. Because when the normal I want cookies to eat cookies process is ended for me, the grocery store now notes my purchase and totals up cookie sales. You bought this many cookies.